Welcome to Crosstalk. Education is often called the backbone of any nation, and for good reasons. When it works, it builds futures, opens doors, and strengthens society. But when it begins to crumble, so does everything else, from the job market to innovation, and even our national morale. Today, we take a pause to look at education, the state of education in Kenya. From the ongoing lecturer strike to the challenges around the new funding model and the continued debates over the competency-based curriculum, CBC. If our education system is not well managed, are we risking the future of an entire generation? That's the conversation that we have. You can be part of it on 20316, which is our SMS line. Our WhatsApp line is 0786 316 316. But before we get to introduce our panel, let me take a moment to say this to every learner sitting for their exams this season. Whether in primary, I don't know whether it's still called primary, or secondary, we wish you nothing but success. Stay focused and remember, your efforts matters even when the system around you feels uncertain. Joining me now is Dr. Caroline Omukoko, who is a senior lecturer at Chuka University. Dr. Are you also on strike? Ijafika Chuka.
We are supporting the national strike.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Karibu Crosstalk.
Thank you.
We're also joined by Salome Kinyanjui, who is an educational expert, a lecturer as well, and a teacher trainer with over 18 years of experience in early childhood and CBC education. You are the right one to have.
Thank you.
To introduce those that are also joining us from the education sector, and maybe I'll start with Professor, just to start by introducing yourself and why you think there's a lot of tension in education system at the moment.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Family TV. Then two, I also want to wish all students across the country, ranging from the CBC and the outgoing 844, who are sitting for their exams in due course. My name is Prof. Kotonde, an educationist. And I'm sad that what brought us to where we are today is not going as per what is expected. Mm-hmm. For me, I went through the 844, but I'm now implementing the CBE. But we have a lot of challenges, by the way, ranging from teacher-student ratio in these primary schools, and also the funding, whereby you find a school like a public school within the city or outside the city is not properly funded. Then you also have some wrangles, whereby we have the junior school teachers having a wrangle with the HOIs, as they're called, but I know they're called primary head teachers. And then you also have the challenges of being posted into a school, and maybe like when I was at the university, that is Kenyan University, sometimes back, I studied English, literature, and special needs. Then you find that you're taken to a school, you're expected to teach integrated science. That's a big challenge. Like, I don't even know the concept, the pedagogies, and all that, but the government expects you to implement that. And then we also have challenges of parents not fully involved. They don't even know what to do. Even as teachers, like senior lecturers here, to some concept they might not know, because at the universities, you take the, we call it the narrow end, and then you fully engage in it. So you might not understand. Maybe you are a philosopher, you may not understand what the integrated science is all about, as much as you're a lecturer. So those are the challenges we have.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we'll get to that. Safin.
I work with CBO, the Champion for Adolescent Girls and Young Women, and these are actually students. And if we talk about equality of education, we still have a gap in ensuring that our education is reaching the level that we all expect it to be. Mm-hmm. So I'll concur with Dr. Kotonde, because these challenges are first-hand. Mm-hmm. If you see the teachers, they are equally confused. Whatever you are trained in college is not basically what you are expected to implement. And we also see the aspect of maybe I can call it over-promising. As a government, we promise that we can implement this system or this curriculum of education. But as a nation, we are even suffering in terms of our economy and standard of living. If those basic things are also around our education. So if we cannot fund our economy well, how then will you convince me that you are going to fund education properly to sustainability? So we have a challenge of over-promising. Number two, I can say that when we were implementing this system or curriculum, the society was not well informed, or there was no need assessment. We were not engaged as a society if we really need this curriculum or not. I think that was really, really a challenge. And then when we implementing this, there was no proper public participation. If really, as a society, do we need this, or we are just implementing for the sake of implementing a program? And then maybe if I also finalize, we also need to streamline the capacity building for our teachers. Because that CBC, it's more of talent and skill-based. So we streamline how we can capacitate our teachers and the stakeholders on the need of how are we going to implement this thing? Because we already have the problem of implementation. So I think we should just find a way of solving it earlier before we collapse.
Okay, I'll come back to you, but let me just ask Madam Salome, why have we not gotten to a place as a country to celebrate our education system?
I too would want to start with congratulating our pioneer class in CBE. That's grade 9. Today they are doing their preparation. They're doing their preparation so that on Monday they start their exam or their assessment. I want to wish them well, even grade 6 and Form 4s. I would want to say that we failed to celebrate many times as Kenya, and I'm thankful that you gave me this opportunity, because I sit and keep wondering, who tells the good story? Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I've just had some concerns that there wasn't a needs assessment. Would I shock you to tell you that there was a needs assessment, and there is a report by KICD 2016, a very comprehensive report through the needs assessment, and it gave all what we are implementing today. I remember in 2019 there was a lot of noise, and then I would call KICD and many other experts and I would ask, why are we not telling the story? And I remember at that time there was a court case, and they said they would not be able to pronounce themselves on it because of the court case. But again, CBE has brought a beautiful opportunity. I wish people would know that there's one principle of CBE. There's formal and informal, integration of the whole curriculum. And there's a key component which has even a curriculum called Parental Empowerment and Engagement Program. It has a curriculum, and KICD has done their bit. The challenge is who tells the public. And I believe now with this platform, Family Media, you're doing a good job to present this to the public. Everything in Kenya has been put on paper, but who reads? Who presents it to the public? So I know the story is on the negative, things are not happening. Personally, I started in 2017. I had worked with somebody at Africa Nazarene University, a director. So every time I went to their school on a different assignment, I would get to find out or interrogate their process on CBC. And they were so happy to tell me, Salome, come and train our teachers. At that point, there were 7 who were ready to resign. But after the first session, it was on a Saturday, they subscribed back to the teaching profession. So the issue is, there is so much that has gone into the preparation of the curriculum, but nobody informs the public. Nobody tells the good story. I wish now the media, everybody can take the responsibility. Schools can use the parental empowerment and engagement curriculum to help parents and the public to understand what is happening and how things are done.
Okay.
So the story is positive. It's only that there's no storyteller in that.
There is no positive storyteller.
True.
We'll get to hear what the students have to say in that. But Dr. Why would we be in a cycle where almost every financial year we have lecturers getting on the streets?
The lecturer strike has been a continuous cycle in that every government promises and then they fail to deliver. And so it's like going round. And so it is our prayer that we'd address this issue once and for all. Because if you look at the current situation, the parents and the students are actually suffering. Most of them are in campus doing nothing. And you can imagine at one time they'll have to recap, which is an extra money, an extra expense. And so it is my prayer that the current government, yes, we may not blame it because it's a continuous cycle, but they may sit down with lecturers and resolve this issue once and for all. Thank you.
How do you then balance the interest as a lecturer? Students are paying the price of a lecturer not coming to the class, and you as a lecturer who is under a professional body that is calling you to get on the streets?
Okay, sometimes it's a very tricky situation to be in, but in the long run, you realize that these strikes, it's the only way sometimes the government listens. And so as a lecturer, you may feel for them, but at the end of the day, what can you do? When the rest are on a strike and it's for the common benefit of all. And so sometimes it's not easy, but we need to support each other for the betterment of this profession. Because, you know, even for future generations, we need to have something better.
Kenny, when you listen to what Dr. is saying and what Salome is saying, do you think there is enough appreciation of what goes within our education system from where you sit?
My name is Kenny Mumo. As far as education is concerned, I'm a professional football coach. I'm a freelance writer, researcher, and analyst. What I can say about our education system in the country, I think there is a lack of goodwill from leaders. Yeah, from leaders who are holding a public office and even the legislature. Because we need policies, friendly policies that will motivate education in the country. As far as dispensing knowledge and skills is concerned, because when we hear about or we see professions who are supposed to dispense knowledge and skills in the education facilities going on strike, then it's really demoralizing. Yeah.
It's a sad situation, but as Dr. says, sometimes that's the only language that these people in government will act. Madam Salome.
Yes, I keep wondering. Thank God we are in a Christian space. And I keep wondering if there is a Joseph that will come in this country who can see issues and manage them. I know politics, education is part of politics. You know, every time we do anything political, education comes in the front. And that being the case, then we need to agree with ourselves as a nation that it comes a time that people make a decisive, policy, or they decide what they want. Because the story today is about Singapore and other countries that we were with many years ago. What have they done? Why are we lagging behind? Why are we allowing our cream of society, because Kenyans are bright, why are we allowing ourselves to go to this state? It happened many years with the private institutions, private universities. We kept going for unpaid leave and coming back. Sisi tulizoea. But I don't know how it will be for the public, because what happened is that we wouldn't get, according to which government came in place, wouldn't even get students until the other day. The students started coming again. It has been taken. So you find there's a lot of imbalance in this country. People are not decisive. People are not deliberate about education. Those in government, I would encourage them. Let's, as much as we do a lot of politics, avoid politics in education, so that we can give it its best, because Kenya is wonderful. I can assure you, I have gone to the ground. I deal with parents, teachers, everybody is willing, but we lack leadership. I wish the leadership can stand to the occasion and support the education so that we move. Today we are talking about AI. People are just doing messy things. And I'm looking at those students. There are those who are so good at it, those others that are not so good at it. Then I'm wondering, this 21st century and this, the 2030 vision that Kenya has, how will we get there? Looking in even at our national goals, how will we achieve them? So we need to be decisive and we need to give education a good commitment so that we can have consistency, so that our commitment to education can assure us that growth we need as a country will happen.
All right. Let me hear from the students. Maybe I'll start with Akinyi. From where you sit as a student, what comes to your mind? Is everything okay? Ama ni sisi two people in the media saying our education system is bad?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Vidisha Akinyi, a student at Kenyatta University. So from where I'm sitting, there is a lot of negativity when it comes to the education sector. For instance, Madam Salome just said there is a lot of positive, or there is a lot of positive energy connected to education. But let me just take one instance, the new funding model. It is not working. It is not working. So I think the government should just go back to the drawing board and actualize what is going to work for us. Because personally, I applied for the HEF funding, but now I'm having problems with my portal, because whenever you go to the finance department in school, actually the government has not released the amount of money they promised in that scholarship. So the school will just urge you to like pay your part of the household. So how is it going to be? Are we going to finish school? Then when it comes to the time when we want to graduate, now we are having problems because the government has not disbursed that amount they ought to have disbursed. And now you want to, you cannot graduate with the arrears in your portal. So the funding model is not working.
Okay. I'll come to you, Sarah, but there's something that Kenya has just mentioned in terms of funding model. What exactly is the problem here from where you sit?
Okay, from where I sit, I've had interaction with some students from very needy families. And so I was engaging with them, trying to find out what is the problem with this model. And from that conversation, they were telling me that with this model, you have to be very careful. For example, if you give some misinformation, they'll place you in the wrong band, and so you'll end up struggling. But I've also had some positive stories about it. Like there's a student who was very needy. In fact, when she joined campus, we did Harambee and all that to settle her in. But the beauty is, after she was advised and all that, right now she's well off, as in she's managing and even paying fee for the younger sibling. And so with the new model, I think, yes, it has challenges which need to be addressed. Unlike the other models, of course, I'm also a beneficiary of the 844 system. You realize that unlike the other ones, which could accommodate everyone, this one you need to be careful. And also with the many concerns, the government needs to look into it. Because once you you give the wrong information, you are placed on the wrong band. And sometimes it's very hard to correct or to be placed in the right band. Yes.
Okay. What's your take as a student?
My name is Sarah Adhiambo, a Kenyatta student. Congratulations to everyone who is sitting for the exams today and all the CBC students. We have faced various challenges as a student myself. There's increase in higher education, like the fee increase. Personally, in our school, today, the semester, the fee is low. When you come next semester, the fee is high. Like they don't give the details how this and this happened. We are facing a lot of challenges in that. And when it comes to strike, it's affecting us as students because most of us are in the hostels right now. we don't know what to do. We wake up in the morning, sleep, we wake up, look for food. Our parents are like, you come home, but our home are far. Like, personally, I come from a very rural area. Yeah, so it's far. The fee, the transport. Then they tell us we are going back to school on this date. When we come back to school, they are not around. So we are facing various challenges, and I feel like they should address us and they should sit down. Like, the government has not said like what's happening. They have not come to a place and say that this and this is being done, and the universities, we are going back to school at this date. So we clearly don't know what is going on, and it's like 3 months, no, 35 days. It's been a while, and we are really struggling as students.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Ria is listening, and maybe after this program will text his union that they need to go back to class. But let's hear from Favor, then I come to you, Prof.
Thank you. My name is Favor Splendor, and I am a university student at Kenyatta. When I look at a challenge, I look at it from the lens of the Constitution. We see that in Article 41 that employees have a right to fair remuneration and even the right to strike. But we also see that Article 43 provides that students need to have the right to education. So I think that remuneration challenges are what create the slippery slope. As a student, from my personal experience, you find that you have paid your school fees, you find that it was heightened. But now when the strike happens, you're losing time. When your focus is to finish school, get into the employment space so that you can have your own form of sustenance. And also when you look at perhaps looking at internships, you find that when the strike has happened, maybe what you are to cover that would make you a competent intern disqualifies you. So I think if remuneration can be sorted out, then it also saves us as students the time we have lost instead of just bed rotting. Thank you.
Dr. There's an aspect of just beyond the pay. What are some of the structural issues that is affecting education?
Some of the structural issues that are rising is that there are some complaints whereby sometime, I don't know whether it was last week, the government was saying that it disbursed the funds.
Yes.
But when you go to the ground, the vice chancellors are saying they've not seen the money. And so sometimes as lecturers, you are in between. The other issue is that you look at they were talking about the vertical, the horizontal and all that, those issues. I know when all is said and done, the money issue, the agreements and all that, I think when you look at the current government, okay, some may say we were not there during that regime of 2017, 2021, but I think it's good they sit down and come to an agreement. How can we resolve this issue once and for all? And in case they are saying that they disbursed some money to some VCs, you know, the VCs cannot be telling the lie. And so sometimes we are caught in between. Who is keeping the money? Of course, they say they look into that, and we hope that it will work out. Okay, the other challenge we actually have at the university is that sometimes the student population is actually very high. We have some programs that have like 200 students, and you are forced to depend on part-time lecturers. Some universities delay pay. And so the government also needs to look into the employment issue. There are many Kenyans who are jobless, graduated even with PhDs. And so rather than going outside for cheap money and cheap labor, it can absorb them into the system. Actually, as my colleague has said here, Kenya has among the best brains. We are bright and we produce the best. And so if it can look into that, I think we can solve most of the issues. Yes.
So you feel like this strike will be coming to an end very soon?
I can't promise, because you know, with the news, even as we are on the lookout, things are just changing, this ball being shifted this side and that side. But we also hope that it will come to an end soon, Because even as the students said, you know, they are supposed to go for attachment, internship, all that. And sometimes when they are not well prepared in class, it becomes a challenge. And so we also feel for them. But now what do we do?
What do we do, Prof?
Our problem starts when we don't give opportunities to the educationist. I said this sometimes back, whereby we saw the then CS. I don't want to quote the name, but I think you can trace. It was not in the educational sector. So how can you tell me that I can be in this house and this room, I want to prepare food. I'm not a chef, I'm a teacher. That is the problem. Giving opportunities to those who are not in the field, all right? Right now we are having a lawyer. I'm told the current CS is a lawyer. How is law related to education? Those are the priorities we don't put right. The moment we'll do, if you're a lecturer in the field of philosophy, you don't have to be seen somewhere close to geography. That is when we'll fix this state of education. Coming down to our counties, we know very well that the ECD is already devolved. But are we getting the right stuff right from the beginning? So this problem is even starting from the lower side of the learners as they grow up. You find that the county governments, instead of even putting proper structures, like there's one I saw in Kisii, which was equally trending, you know, instead of them putting the right structures from the beginning, this money are not there. The tutors down there are not being paid. The remunerations are not there. So this thing is trickling down all through up to the higher levels. So we need to have priorities when it comes to education, proper funding, proper facilitators, proper implementers.
It's just talked about alignment, that we really don't align the right people in right positions to make implementations in our education sector.
It's not only in the government space. It's coming from the local level, like you've heard. People want their people, but truth be told, if they can't deliver, we cannot move. So if we have to correct issues, it has to start in institutions, all institutions, so that we get the right people doing the right thing. Because if today you ask me to do CBE, even if I'm sleeping, I'll do it perfectly well. That's what I know how best to do, because in early childhood, that's our training. So when it came, I did it without a lot of thinking. But even those who are doing it, they need to agree. If I cannot do a thing, CBC is telling us we can share a unit or a subject. He can tell you during implementation. If you're good in creative arts, I'm doing something different. Whatever you're good in, I'm allowed to work with you so that you come in my class and do it. The same thing should happen even in leadership. We are not short of educationists, be it in the county level, in institutions. We've seen institutions whereby you're very good at something, but because of personal interests, you're not from my Mulima place or you're not from this other lakeside, we will not give you. And we don't want so-and-so kuvuma zaidi ya kunishinda. But the thing is, you are wasting a whole generation. If people can know their call, then they should be able to do the right thing. And that's happening a lot in politics, in the professional space, and even in the community. It's time we got the records of who can do what, then we work with them and empower the right people to do the right thing. We've had the other day training for retooling. They were saying the best part was thank you. The last bit, it was trending. Why? Because somebody was invited because of the small token or because of some other interests. So they just read through notes. I've been in spaces, people tell me, Salome, we were read for literally notes. That person is not thinking, the person you are retooling has had an exposure. They know what the design looks like. They know what needs to be implemented. They only need somebody to do it right. But to just pick people for the sake. Why can't people do, take the applications We get applications in the county level. Who is good at what? We do interviews. It won't take the 3 or 4 days. Just a little support, and we can even retool and train those who need to go and retool. But people are just picking the training materials, go read for people, and I tell you the stories I hear, they're sad. And this will continue if we do not become deliberate. We say you have to be deliberate. Let's be deliberate with education. Let's get the right people to do it, and let's not be fooled, because we can still keep a good record. Free education, who brought it?
Yeah, when you talk about free education and fair education, Safin, what does that really mean? Because most of the times you talk about free education, you want quality to everyone.
Good.
What does that really mean?
I think free education is basically where everyone gets to be funded to be able to take their education seriously. For fair education, it's the aspect where we can be able to achieve the knowledge properly and in an efficient way. So at the moment, I can't say that we have free education because, one, I can see the transitioning from, I think, junior to senior secondary. There are instances where parents are being told, now that your student or your pupil is moving to this level, you need to get them a locker, you need to get them, the registration fee if you are transferring them to a particular school. And then also on a fair ground, we can see that the digital literacy is coming in, the way they say the AI and all that. So when we have the digitalization of education, it will be inclusive of even the persons with disability. They will be feeling included because we have the aspect of translation, special need education and all that, and it is being moved to the higher level or the higher technological level. So in that space, I feel there is fairness in terms of digital literacy and the aspect of curriculum-based. So you can prove as wrong with your skill what you can do.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Maybe
you.
give it to Kenny because is within that space of skills. Is our education system producing innovators, thinkers, or just survivors? Because you can also tell with the number of unemployed young people that come out of our universities every year.
The KICD did a very good thing coming up with CBC, but it has got challenges as far as implementing it is concerned. 844 was more of memorizing, but CBC is more of practical. So I think they're trying to cover the gap that they realized with the 844 education system.
Assignment has been given, but who ends up doing the assignment is a parent. So was there public participation between parents and stakeholders? We talked about need assessment.
Thank you for coming back to that one. So that's why now we come in terms of consultancy and training of teachers and parental empowerment. I remember there has been a lot of noise initially, especially like 3 years ago, and 2 still. So what happened is that teachers woke up to doing things the same way they used to do in 844. But when we train teachers, we tell them the difference between teacher-centered approach and learner-centered approach. Teacher-centered approach, you are the expert, you will wake up and go tell. But the learner-centered needs a lot of preparation. In fact, when we were being trained, we would do a lot of disadvantage to the teacher and advantage to the learner. Meaning, it is a prepared environment. So you will not wake up and tell. You will prepare, like these 2 months, there are schools who are ready. They will prepare for the whole of next year. And shortly, they will keep preparing for the learners. So the challenge came in because teachers were not prepared and schools and institutions. So with the current practice, what I'm telling them, can you have policies? Can you have prepared, records? You have ticked what activities will be done. Like now, by the time they left or by the time they come back in January, they should have lists of activities. And I remember we did 844 that was almost similar to what we have then. We would know in class 6 we'll be sewing specifics, we'll be cooking specifics. So parents were prepared early. And a previous year, they will be contributing for the fabric, for the resources, so that the coming year, we just implement. That should be the model that we should work with today, and that's what we are guiding teachers to do. Like now, they prepare the portfolios early, so that even the questionnaires, the tools they use for assessment, they will not do them during the term. They will have prepared them early enough, so that parents will not feel they are being asked to do. I'm a mother of a CBC learner, and I kept telling the baby, I will not sign, because I don't have a carrot. Maybe you assume I have carrot in my house. So then it was a way of just telling the teacher, take it with good time. So when we discussed with the teachers, so we would ask them, can you do a month before? Do a reminder, and not us, even the learners. We've empowered them, they know. So currently, there's not so much struggle with those who have done that, but the struggle is with those who are still doing the old system. So if people can align, know that this is the learner, so they need to, we even don't tell them to bring a carrot. You give them an array of items, they choose what is within their environment. So that's what CBC is. It's a balance.
Because I saw some even carrying chicken to school, but the chicken doesn't come back. Dr. Hari, there's an aspect of education being an equalizer. But we are in a situation where we have lost confidence in the quality of education that we get from our education system. How do we restore that confidence?
Okay, as my other colleagues have said, it takes an array of people, of stakeholders. But on our part, what I can say is that, unlike the old days whereby the old system, I can remember the 763, they could tell us that immediately after campus, they were posted and all that, life was easy and all that. And so, you engage with such people, you realize that even as when we graduated, there was not that assurance of jobs. And so we had to maneuver our ways, do the odd jobs, reach a stage in life, decide that this first degree, no, I need to look for scholarships. I go for my master, I do my master, the job is not also promising. Along the way, you decide now, am I going to go back to the industry or I choose an alternative path? And so on my part, I decided to take the teaching and research. One professor really encouraged me. I'm coming from a very humble background, but he encouraged me and told me, it's not about the money or where you're coming from, but you can make it. And so it challenged me that yes, in spite of the current challenges, we cannot rubbish education, We still have to value it, and our stakeholders and lecturers and all that, we give it our best, such that someone said that the person who passes through my hands, what impact will I make in their lives? And so on my part, together with my colleagues, we decide to give it the best. I mean, what is the worst we can do? Ignorance is even worse. So we can't rubbish education in spite of the challenges and all that. And as we wait for things to and contribute for the stakeholders to change and all that, we still give it our best, and we still encourage our learners, even our students, to give it the best. Because like what I can say is like in my institution, some very young people have gotten awards. There's a student who got the presidential award for 3 million innovation. She's trying to make pads from banana, this pseudostem. There's also a Chuka University student who was recognized third worldwide, AI and predicting the stock market. And so I see something positive in this young generation, especially when it comes to technology and all that, which can be tailored to the positive. And when you look at the back of it all, education has played a role. Yes, the job market may be frustrating, but there are things which are still going on, and we still remain optimistic and give it the best.
All right.
Yes.
Favor, let me ask you this, because you did refer to the Constitution, but I also know that within the student leadership, there's quite a strong union of students. Why is it that none of them is speaking about the challenges that students are facing, or nobody is listening?
Well, I think it depends with the university the student leaders are in. I think sometimes they're in conflict of interest if they lean too much to the students, they might brush a lot of shoulders with the administrators. So I think that just trying to play it safe and being a bit politically correct about it, even though they are still affected because they're students. Yes.
But then how do you move from here? So the students are just in campus, not lecturers. So what next? Are you guys closing to go back home until next academic year?
I would say it is a bit uncertain. For example, for us, we've been getting memos that lectures are soon to resume this week. When that week comes, you find there's a bit of a hold and that hasn't come to fruition. So it's still a bit of a gray area. Sometimes we are a bit hopeful. We say, okay, let's not go home. You might reach home and find everything has been resolved and now it's a wasted time. So it's still gray. A bit of hope, a bit of despair.
Okay. Sarah, is doctor here giving you some hopes that they will be back in class soon? Or you are not yet convinced?
I'm not convinced.
What would you want to see?
Again, they deserve to be out, because if they're not out and telling people what they need in this government, they won't be helped. So at some point, I fully support them. But again, we also need to go back to class. A lot of time is being spent here. Some of us who are motivated, like they can go and read for themselves. But again, there are others without that school, and knowing that there's a lecture class at this time, we can't go to class and read. Like, why are we reading then? Next week there's no class. What if I forget? So we just need to go back to class. You all need to sit down and tell us the way forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be the way forward, Salome?
I don't mean to say that there will not be a solution, but at the moment, what can the students do? We always give what we call a course outline at the beginning of the semester. I'm sure they have it. And there are reads. So I tell my students, go and start your projects within. You have your groups, continue as we wait for your lecturers, and it will be easier by the time they're doing what? They're coming back. And I would want to say, like, you asked what happens with the higher education based on our education in Kenya. I think beginning of January or last year, the Commission for Higher Education invited universities to revise the curriculum and consider competency-based education. We reviewed the curriculums. I think they started with the education department, and it's now flowing because now that conversation is already happening. So what has happened, we've started incorporating issues of values, skills, competencies in the education system. And as you can hear, there are these projects that have been won. Our students now are not the traditional students in the university who would be waiting to graduate. I have many who are even going for online classes because they've already gotten something to do. I don't mean they shouldn't finish their journey, but I'm just saying we need skills. If you're skilled enough, I can see a lot of cybersecurity opportunities. You don't need to have done so much. So there's so much to be done by our students as we wait, because we can't sit and wait.
Okay.
The world is still moving, and the government already, though the specific bodies are doing what they should do, it's only that economy sometimes and our way of doing things is a bit slow.
Okay.
But as they do that, I would urge our students, can you do what you should do? Because as teaching 10 saves 9. Just save your skin.
Okay.
I believe it will be okay soon.
Akinyi?
Salome was saying, like, when they were initiating this CBC issue, there was public participation. Then now we need to understand what really is public participation. And then when you go down that lane, you realize that there are no guidelines as to what constitutes public participation. Let's say I want to introduce a policy. I go out there, maybe take a group of 50, then they sign it, then like that amounts to public participation.
2022, the current government did what you call presidential working party.
Yeah.
Your VC, I met him somewhere in Kiambu. So most people, when these things are announced, not many people just follow. Personally, I represented my university. We wrote what we thought and they implemented. There's a report already. And a lot of voice of reason by the public was brought on board. And when I sat in those discussions, I was wondering how will they balance? Because I knew how initially CBE was structured. And that's when they rationalized the curriculum, whereby we had 14 subjects. They were reduced. Although they were not removed, they were integrated. So as much as they were not removed, it's because the government could not afford. So the public schools would come and parents and complain and say, give their feedback on the challenges. So that came up. But what do we read? I asked my students, which platforms are they in? How many will access this discussion today? How many listen to what happens in the public? I remember people were rushing. It started, I think, in Machakos. It went all over, even the media. I sometimes wonder why they do not publicize what's happening, especially in the education sector. So there's a lot. In fact, even those teachers who are looking to train, I tell them, I read from that space, I come and charge them. And it's already in KICD portal. In fact, even audio. You just listen and you know. So all things these things are available. Even those reports, they did. It's only that KICD doesn't have a publicity wing to come and keep telling us this is what we are doing. Look at what's happening with NEC, with Dr. Njegere. A lot has been done. But who comes and tells us? They have even forums in Naivasha. I've not had anybody really reporting. Sometimes I call my colleagues, they're saying, we're in Naivasha. A lot of reviews every year happen. Nobody tells us there's improvement. We give feedback. So I think it's time anybody in the education sector should know what's happening, even in the universities. They just place, there's going to be this, nobody follows. So you find there's so much happening, but the publicity is not happening.
It's not happening. Maybe you need to be on TikTok and IG. You want to say something, just proceed. I'm told your mic is fine. You can just proceed.
I just want to concur with Madam Salome. I happen to be part of the people being interviewed for the implementation of CBE. We had parents' representatives. We had private sector, private schools representatives. We had CAPTCHA. We had the one for secondary. We have CUPET and even the NAT. The question which still goes unanswered is the implementation, right? It was collected. And even people said, why do you call a sample of persons in a hall, yet you've not gone deep into somewhere like Kalobeye in Turkana, right? The people of Turkana are even willing to know this, but they are not involved in any way. That is, we still just get back to what I said. Are we getting the right parties into each and every line of education? We are not getting it right. We had professors, learned ones, but if you ask them thereafter, the implementation process, they'll be like, we are waiting for other directives. When will we get the basic of what we are doing? And then, at the other side of the story is the students. Do research with the AIs and the nets we have, instead of taking the whole day, telling us to tap. Let us tap the information given in our model, so that at the end of the day, we don't complain so much on the lecturers, because it has been there. By the way, when I was in primary 5, primary 6, the teacher strike was so bad, I remember it went for about 90 days. I was in grade 5, grade 6, 10 days. Nowadays it goes for 35 days and you guys are crying. Yet we didn't even have the materials. By then we were not having the materials. Nowadays the materials are there. The internet is there. I want just to challenge you, the students around the country and across the board. As much as you want the government to also implement this, take responsibility also. Own the race. Challenge the government that as much as the teachers are not there, the lecturers are not there, we can as well sit in groups. Be a teacher to your peers. borrow an idea from your peers. As much as we are criticizing the government, I want to appreciate the government in terms of education sector. Right now, we are having the CBE transition to year 10, 11, going forward. Are we not aware that the government is already prepared with books from the KICD? She can ascertain. Are we not aware that the government is also doing what we call retooling for the teachers? As I said, that teachers are teaching what they don't know, but with the retooling, as much as they're getting the readings from quotes and quotes, those who are implementing it, they're at least getting something because they're mature personalities. Are we also not aware that the government is also building very many laboratories to receive the year 10, all right? So as much as the government is also going through a lot of challenges, last year we had the students and the Gen Zs in the street. Right now we have the lecturers. You can see how the government is overwhelmed. So we also need to see how, let us just say facts, right? We need to see a way of appreciating where the government is doing good. Yes, so that we co-own this. Let us co-own. It's like we are not co-owning this. We tend to be like, let the government do this. What about the consumers of what the government is offering?
All right.
Yes.
Okay, Safin, you wanted to add something?
Maybe just to emphasize, I'll give credit where it's due. The government is really trying in terms of infrastructure. I know change is hard, and change takes time for us to embrace it. They are building the ICT hubs, the laboratories, and the classrooms. So the only thing that the government need to really streamline is how to ensure that our stakeholders are now leveraging whatever they are getting in those forums. For example, the retooling, maybe a particular group was retooled. So I expect the champions or the ambassadors to ensure that it trickles down to the people that do not have the right information about whatever is going on.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that is what I can add.
Okay. Lenny?
Okay, the government is trying its best, but personally I believe it is supposed to do better. Because when it comes to embezzlement of funds, we hear about figures which have the capacity to ensure free education from early childhood to university. When it comes to institutes, we still have institutes which are in pathetic conditions. Just the other day, the president was in Kitui County. And in Kitui County, the government had implemented a national project, the Ithokwe Stadium and an airstrip. But in the same county, we have schools that are still made of mud. You see?
So priorities.
So priority education is supposed to be given priority, because when you look at factors influencing education, one of them is motivation. So the learners need to be motivated. So if the infrastructure of the school is in a pathetic condition, the learners and even the professional who are dispensing the knowledge and skills are not motivated. So the government and political leaders in the country should prioritize education.
Just talking about motivation on a light note, maybe the students in Kitui are being motivated by the airstrip so that they can work hard, but that's on a light note. If you really listen to also what Prof just said, are we not aware? And he gives points, are we not aware? It really speaks to what the government is doing that is in positive. That also shows that then we are not really in tension. Our education seems to be really doing good, Doc, as a closing remark.
Okay. Of course, we can't rubbish it all. Yes, there are some attempts, there's progress. And when it comes to infrastructure development, I can say it depends with the universities. Like in Chuka, we have the infrastructure. There's a lot going on. But I look at other universities where they have elephant buildings. And so, yes, we realize that the government is doing its part. Maybe it's too big and we need more resources. We need more policies. We need to see how to improve the way forward. And when all is said and done, yes, education is an equalizer. We cannot rubbish it.
All right.
Yes.
Closing remarks.
Closing, I would say that we have a wonderful curriculum, I can assure you. But I ask, who is government when it's in the institution space? Because who will come and read the designs in good time? Because somebody is waiting to implement in 2025. But I assure you, they do not know how the curriculum looks like. They have not planned for it. And you can be sure every weekend, every evening, I'm helping people with that. So I would urge Kenyans, as much as we don't have a history of reading, let's look at the right documents, look at what we are supposed to do and plan. Plan in good time so that we can see what can be done. Like now there is the issue of pathways that is coming up in senior. There are people who are still stuck. They are waiting for kids to come and now they start planning. But I would encourage us, let's start, think of what we have, and you don't need to do everything for up to grade 12. You can start with the first class so that we leverage on what facilities we have. And I'm telling you, it is doable. It is doable, and we can work on that. My request is on change management. I know change is not an easy thing, but it's time we embrace change because it has already come. Today, people should know we have a comprehensive school. Preschool all the way. I'm a beneficiary. I'm so happy for the government.
Asante.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. Looks like there's no elephant in the room apart from the implementers of these systems that needs to maybe pull up their socks or buy new ones. I think we can replace if we have pulled until they are now torn. Thank you so much for your participation on this program. I know these are conversations that will still continue. And like Salome, you did mention that if you have opportunities such as this to just speak to the positive stories and with stakeholders, and I know we'll still engage with you and the panel as well. So thank you so much. If you're a parent, a teacher, an educator, you are a stakeholder, a student, just get involved. Get to know what is happening in this particular sector. And I know, as we've already said, this is the only equalizer. And mostly it happens in higher education levels where we all meet, all the bright students and not so bright, average. You remember those, like average student? Yeah. That's the place where we all find ourselves and we work our way up. So thank you so much for being part of this conversation, sharing your feedback and comments on the state of our education in this country. And it is amazing because through the support that we get from our partners, we've managed now to reach 1.5 million towards our campaign to Lamu. By the way, we have a new frequency to Lamu. Yeah, so we are taking the gospel to Lamu. Simpige makofi. Thank you so much, our partners, for making sure that we spread the gospel, not just within Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, or Kisumu, and Central Part, but we are enlarging our coast online. So we have a frequency, 88.5 FM for our radio station, to start to broadcast in Lamu. Our target was 3 million. But what amazed me this week was we received 5 bob. Yeah. From one of the people that listened to our station, just to support us. From the little that they got, if put together, it makes amazing miracle. And that's what we are asking you. You can be part of media missionaries to help us take this gospel to the people of Lamu County 005. Our pay bill number is 316,316. Account name is Lamu. Together, we can be there. Thank you so much and good night.